My name's Bethesda from Bethesda versus BETHESDAface, and today are Bethesda breaking FTC guidelines as to deceptive pricing. Let's go find out in today's Bethesda. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface, and we're back with Bethesda again. Because we can't just seem to go more than 2 minutes without something arising when it comes to them. And I know, and I will fully agree, that there is a saturation of Bethesda videos. But the simple fact of the matter is, if we don't call them out on these practices, if we don't bring these to light, then not only will Bethesda try and get away with it, but other companies may try and get away with it. And so I think it's literally a duty now to kind of go into this. And let's just do a quick little recap, very smoochy one. A couple of days ago, I did a video about this junk on the screen here. This ridiculous, overpriced junk. 50% off an emote pack. Should have been 2,400 atoms. Now, just a cheapy $1,212. Ridiculous. Couple of tat outfits that are, you're only going to wear at Christmas and that's it. $20, down from $30, 3,000 atoms down to 2,000 atoms. And then a sign to stick outside your camp, if it ever spawns, $14, 1,400 atoms. Just ridiculous tat at ridiculous pricing. Well, gotta tread carefully here. But have Bethesda actually got themselves in a little bit of hot water, potentially, with the FTC? Because it came to my attention that although I found this absolutely hilarious, that this actually may in fact come under the code of deceptive pricing, which is the overall bracket of deceptive practices. So I started to look into the FTC's guides against deceptive pricing. We've got some very interesting stuff. So I'm not accusing Bethesda of this, but when we go through it, it's going to be very interesting whether or not the FTC should be called in to have a look at this. So the very first paragraph itself says and sets this up really well indeed. So I'm going to go through this and I'll give my opinion based off this. So, one of the most commonly used forms of bargain advertising is to offer a reduction from the advertiser's own former price for an article. Simple. If the former price is the actual bona fide price at which the article was offered to the public on a regular basis for a reasonably substantial period of time, it provides a legitimate basis for the advertising of a price comparison. Where the former price is genuine, the bargain being advertised is a true one. So just to cut that down for people, I'm not trying to patronize anyone here, but what it's saying is, if an article is a legitimate set price of, say, $10, and it's been $10 for a reasonable period of time, whatever a reasonable period of time may be, and then it's offered at $7.50, that is a legitimate bargain in the terms of the FTC. But when we get onto this next part, here we go. If, on the other hand, the former price being advertised is not bona fide but fictitious, for example, where an article inflated price was established for the purpose of enabling the subsequent offer of a large reduction, the bargain being advertised is a false one. The purchaser is not receiving the unusual value he expects. In such a case, the reduced price is, in reality, probably just the seller's regular price. So just to bring this back up again, these came straight onto the Atom Shop like this. Not at full price. They've never been offered at full price because it's the very first time they have ever been offered in the game. The game came out just over 4 weeks ago or so. 4 or 5 weeks ago. And so these atom prices here have never ever been established. This has never been 2,400 atoms. This has never been 3,000 atoms. And this one isn't on sale. So these are the two. And we have new and we have 50% off. So we actually have literature stating that this is a bargain. This is a bargain. This is 50% off. This is 33% off. So now let's carry on in the second paragraph. This gets slightly more complicated, but I will explain at the end of it. A former price is not necessarily fictitious merely because no sales at the advertised price were made. The advertiser should be especially careful, however, in such a case that the price is one at which the product was openly and actively offered for sale for a reasonably substantial period of time in the recent regular course of their business. Honesty and in good faith, and of course, not for the purpose of establishing a fictitious higher price on which a deceptive comparison might be based. And the advertiser should scrupulously avoid any implication that a former price is a selling, not an actual price. For example, by use of such language as formerly sold at unless substantial sales at that price were actually made. All right, so again, not trying to patronize anyone here, but I'm just going to break it down. What that is saying is it wouldn't be a problem if Bethesda had offered this at 2,400 and this at 3,000 and no sales were made. And then they did this and then sales were made. That is fine because they did still legitimately offer at the full price, which they reckon it's worth, even though the product didn't make any sales. So it's saying that you don't have to sell at that high price for it to be legitimate. It just has to be offered for a substantial, well, for a reasonable period of time at that price to see whether or not sales could be could be made, and if they weren't, never mind. The following is an example of a price comparison based on a fictitious former price. John Doe is a retailer of brand X fountain pens. Bethesda is a retailer of which cost him $5 each. I must have misread it. His usual markup is 50% over cost. That is, his regular retail price is $7.50. In order subsequently to offer an unusual bargain, Doe begins offering brand X at $10 per pen. He realizes that there will be he will be able to sell no or very few pens at this inflated price, but he doesn't care. For he maintains that price for only a few days, then he cuts the price to its usual level of $7.50 and advertises, terrific bargain. X pens were $10, now only $7.50. This is obviously a false claim. The advertised bargain is not genuine. Let's go back to here again. This was never offered at this price. This is a false, potentially, allegedly. Well, it's not allegedly because it happened, but it's potentially a false price. Never came out at this markup, just went straight into the bargain price. So this could, in all fairness, come under the terms of deceptive pricing. And I'd be very interested to see if the FTC will be inclined to look into these business practices, certainly when it comes to microtransactions on a game's store. Because at no time was it offered at this. We've gone straight into the bargain. No RRP has ever in any way or form been substantiated Or have they been offered for any legitimate period of time at that price, if they ever were, which they weren't? If you're with me. So this is just absolute potential calamity for Bethesda. They've already tried to squirm themselves out, and I think managed to squirm themselves out of a lawsuit with the canvas bag, nylon bag situation. Are they going to get themselves into hot water with the FTC for deceptive pricing under the brackets of deceptive practices? So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do get a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links there in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.